Thank you so much for inviting me this evening. First and foremost, I want to thank Carla and the Delaware World Trade Center for this opportunity to speak with all of you. I also want to acknowledge the World Trade Center's important work in promoting business and investment between the United States and Africa. And also want to recognize Governor Carney, Senator Carper, Congresswoman Blunt Rochester, Secretary of State Bullock, and our esteemed delegation from Botswana. I have done some economic development work here in Delaware myself as part of my past role at the Biden Institute. And so it's incredible to witness the crucial work you all are doing to promote the state and enhance its important position for trade, business, and investment. Given your theme this year, I wanted to focus my remarks on our work on Africa and trade. First, let me emphasize that the Biden-Harris administration is committed to building a strong trade and economic partnership with African nations. And we want to do this in a way that advances prosperity for all countries. We are implementing policies that benefit all of our citizens by fostering inclusive and sustainable development and supporting regional integration. This is especially true of our relationship with the African continent. As you know, Africa possesses tremendous opportunity and potential. Ambassador Tai observed these opportunities firsthand when she traveled to Kenya in September to lead the United States delegation to the inauguration of the country's new president, William Ruto. In fact, despite global headwinds, in 2021, total goods trade between the U.S. and sub-Saharan Africa was nearly $45 billion, way up from just $32.7 billion in 2020. Africa is a critical economic partner with the growing middle class. And as its young population is likely to double by 2050, it is set to become an increasingly important player in world trade. Africa is the physical size of China, Europe, and the United States combined, and it is transitioning into one of the world's largest markets. Not only that, Africa continues to increase its competitiveness and integration into global supply chains. It's also undergoing rapid digitalization and urbanization, and is brimming with entrepreneurial spirit and innovation. The United States and the nations of Africa have a vested interest now and for the future in strengthening the U.S.-Africa trade and investment relationship. As part of the Biden-Harris administration's commitment to strengthening partnerships with the Africa continent, President Biden is hosting the United States-Africa Leaders Summit in Washington on December 13th through December 15th. The summit will demonstrate our longstanding commitment to Africa and will highlight the economic engagement between the United States and African nations. The summit will address key issues such as economic cooperation, global health, and food security. I want to highlight two key events that will take place during the summit. One will be the third U.S.-Africa Business Forum, which will bring together business and government leaders to advance mutually beneficial partnerships that create jobs and drive inclusive and sustainable growth on both sides of the Atlantic. This forum will build on the success of previous events by catalyzing two-way trade and investment deals and strengthening economic and commercial ties between the United States and African countries. The other key event during the Leaders Summit will be an AGOA ministerial that Ambassador Tai will convene on December 13th with trade ministers from across the continent. The meeting will provide a critical platform to discuss ways to expand trade and investment, strengthen economic cooperation, and support regional economic integration. As we chart a path forward in our partnership with Africa, we have focused on engaging African countries and especially receiving input from key stakeholders in civil and the private sector. AGOA, or the African Growth and Opportunity Act, has been at the core of the United States trade relationship with sub-Saharan Africa for more than 20 years. It continues to present an important opportunity for African countries to attract more investment from the business community and help small and women-owned businesses find new markets and successfully compete in the global economy. Since 2000, when the AGOA legislation was passed by Congress, it has helped millions of people supported increased investment across the continent, and created hundreds of thousands of new jobs in eligible countries. However, it is important to recognize that despite these successes, there have also been some challenges, and only a handful of the 49 countries in sub-Saharan Africa have taken significant advantage of AGOA. Our goal is to build on the successes of AGOA, but to do so will require improving the business climate to attract investment and create long-term sustainable growth. AGOA is not the only tool to strengthen our economic ties and build out our vision for an inclusive and sustainable trade policy. As we rethink what trade can be in the 21st century, we must ensure that the promises of trade are translated into concrete results for all people, and not just a handful at the top. And the United States-Kenya Strategic Trade and Investment Partnership is a great example of a new and innovative way to expand trade. Earlier this summer, the government of Kenya and the United States launched the partnership as an opportunity to work together on shared priorities and intensify our trade and investment engagement. More importantly, we launched the partnership on the basis of attracting investment and facilitating sustainable and inclusive growth. This could be a model for the region as a tool to benefit workers and consumers, lift up small businesses, and support African regional economic integration. In addition to the partnership, we're also working with the African Continental Free Trade Area Secretariat to deepen our relationship and to enhance opportunities for collaboration and consultations on topics of mutual interest. The United States government, led by USTR, has launched a range of activity to support the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. This includes work to promote collaboration in support of regional value chains across Africa, attract positive investment on the continent, and improve African workers' livelihoods and opportunities, including for women and youth. President Biden and Ambassador Tai firmly believe that trade must deliver real opportunities to real people in the United States and in Africa. There are far too many communities that have been left out from our past policy efforts. We must give these individuals, workers, women, youth, and other represented people a seat at the table and incorporate their voices into our work. Doing trade the right way starts with them having a seat at the table and ensuring their voices help actually shape our policy. This is especially true of our engagement with Africa, and we are committed to realizing this vision together. Thank you for your time and this kind invitation. I look forward to the work we can do together to help shape a stronger, more resilient, and more inclusive economy here at home and in Africa.